Frieren Beyond Journey's End was the best anime to come out last year. Not only that, but did you know that it's the best anime ever made? Well, the folks over at My Anime List sure think so. Look at how many users rate it so highly. Nobody can dispute its claim to the throne. Well, thank God I'm a nobody. I'm an expert anime appraiser. I know what makes a show great. So I'm making it my job to answer the question, is Frieren the best anime ever made? To get my answer, I will need to watch every anime show, judge them on a scale of 1 to 10,
realize I've only been watching the dub versions of these shows and not watching the originals.
I will then need to learn Japanese, become immersed in the culture dating back at least 100 years, to get all the references in Gintama.
and only then will I be ready to give you my findings. Be back in a sec. So I tried watching Jailbait the anime and got bored. How about I just compare Frieren to the last holder of the crown, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Here's the plan. I will go through both Full Metal Alchemist and Frieren, detailing my thoughts on the characters and voice acting, the presentation, both animation and or audio, and finally the plot and themes of each show. I've watched both using subtitles, which I understand is imperfect, but it's the closest I can get to the authorial intent of the original production staff. Like, I'm pretty sure this isn't what Al actually said in the scene, but I promise it won't impact any of my critique. Let's start with Disputed, Mal Champion of the World. I think the main selling point of Frieren Beyond Journey's End are the characters and the voice acting. There is so much personality put into every interaction of the show. They try to paint the titular character as an aloof, disconnected, ancient being who can't connect with people on an emotional level. If you actually watch the show, you know her as a gremlin, a baby, a protector, and the silliest sorcerer to ever live. Oh, what's that? Oh right, she also killed the Demon King before the story even started. Yeah, the endgame antagonist is already dead, and the show focuses on the characters long after this world-changing event.
Our wholehearted thanks for defeating the Demon King. Your efforts have launched our world into an age of prosperity and peace.
Fern, Stark, and Sign all get similar treatment as you learn more about them and their pasts. The showrunners know what's important to make you feel for a character, and they make sure to add these little details throughout every episode. One of my favorites is the scene between Fern and Stark.
Let me see. You really weren't kidding. They're icicles.
Aren't they?
Ooh. You're a monster! Well, today I tried to get her back for it, and she didn't like that too much.
I was stubborn. I'm the one who started it all in the first place. I don't even mind the fact that he touched me. It's just... the arm he used to restrain my shoulder was so strong. I guess I was startled and a little scared.
It's one of those moments that's so relatable from both the male and female perspective. It hits you on a fundamental level and brings you even more into the world, which is dangerous because of how many people are obsessed with these fictional characters. I like to rag on Frieren fans for making the most degenerate fan art, especially for a chick who is one headscarf away from attending mosque, but I mean, I can't really blame them. These designs are just perfect. They somehow created the woman of my dreams that I didn't even know I needed. No, not that one. Perfect. You know a work is great when the best character, Himmel the hero, is already dead in episode 1. You keep begging for another flashback for a chance to see him again. Oh yeah, spoilers for everything in season 1 of Frieren and all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Himmel has such a warmth and strength behind his words that it's impossible not to be enamored by him, which is ironic given the events of the show.
Next time, then. I know a good place. I'll take us there when the opportunity arises in 50 years. What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing in the world. So it's a plan. 50 years from now.
Everyone is perfectly cast and no one feels out of place. I guess I'm starting to see why this show is so beloved. Let's shift gears and turn our attention to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, Full Metal as a franchise means so much to me. The original series was the first anime I watched that had darker themes. Each episode would live rent-free in my head for days on end after seeing what messed up stuff Ed and Al went through. I never got to finish the original series because I only watched it on Adult Swim, and I guess I just lost interest as the show deviated from the main manga storyline. After years went by, I was deep into my college studies and decided to pick up the next run of the show, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which touted itself as the legitimate retelling of Hiromu Arakawa's magnum opus. And you know what? I have to agree. This show held up to how I watched it all those years ago. You think that having experienced the story 4 times already, that I would have been bored out of my gourd, but gosh damn, I was gripped. It's primarily a story about 2 brothers working together to restore their bodies, which they lost by trying to revive their dead mother. The bond between Ed and Al is something else. The resolve and trust towards one another is palpable. I would be remiss if I didn't mention how the female characters are portrayed. Super refreshing for a series to have women just be characters. Generally in anime targeted at boys, there are characters and then there are female characters. Riza, for example, is a marksman of the highest caliber, who resolves to use her guns as a shield after her deployment in the War of Extermination. She's caring, quick-witted, loyal, and covers Mustang's shortcomings perfectly. All of the side characters are fully fleshed out and well acted. At first, they may grate on your nerves, as you think they're just a one-trick pony, but characters like Mei Hughes, Mei Chang, and the Armstrongs will grow on you as the story unfolds. Hell, one of my favorite scenes has to be this one with Dr. Knox.
So that's where it's been all this time.
Hey! You can't throw away a family picture!
I don't speak to my wife and son. Yeah. What do you want?
Oh, good evening, Dad. Good to see you.
It's been a while. How are you?
Oh, man. It's a disaster in here.
Come on. Why don't we try to clean up a little before you can tell us not to?
I don't know if you actually exist or not, God, but cut me some slack. Even a guy like me needs a break. Just please let me enjoy the happiness of having a cup of coffee with my family.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't cry at that scene. The best way to describe the characters and voice acting in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is earnest. The sincerity might come off as cloyingly sweet, but it's necessary to the telling of the story. Because what's more impressive is that every character adds in some way to the central themes and messaging of the show. FMAB has one of the best endings of a show, bar none. But it's much too early to be talking about that, so let's jump back to... I think the main selling point of Frieren Beyond Journey's End has to be the presentation. Like, have you been watching this video, or are you just listening on your third screen at work? Couldn't be me. I never watch video essays at work. Definitely not me. The animation is breathtaking. The whole world feels cohesive and full of wonder. If it weren't for the demons, I would love to live in any one of these cozy towns. When the show turns to action, it does not disappoint. The magic feels otherworldly when slapped across such a classical portrayal of the countryside. The animators make sure to stick in as many little sight gags as well, which makes repeat viewings a must. Haiter throwing away his veggies and the pro wrestling moves are some of my favorites. And who could forget this absolute gem? The music is somehow even more impactful than the visuals. The music would fit perfectly in any fantasy TV show and just accentuates every scene perfectly. I don't even feel scared to say this, but the anime clears the manga 100%. The additional animation flourishes and the sound design does so much heavy lifting here. Madhouse really knocked it out of the park and are back for season 2. We are definitely living in the best timeline, folks. The presentation in Full Metal is much more standard anime fare. Just saying that makes me want to vomit, but we're comparing this to Frieren. There are so many chibi sight gags and just people sitting in a room talking to one another. It was crazy to me how many hotels and apartments just had 2 couches facing each other in order for exposition to be doled out. I don't think it's out of laziness or lack of creativity, but out of necessity that scenes are framed this way. The show is dense, and I mean super compact. Story beats will hit you like a truck, and new revelations are always around the next episode. Places like Central are given character through its design. You will just have these gigantic rooms that are sparsely decorated and feel strangely hostile. You cannot hide anything from the top brass, you are to sit and do your job and don't ask questions. It's crazy how this frozen iron fortress can feel more like a home than the well-protected and prosperous capital. The action scenes are clear and full of bombast. Even the janky CGI is mixed well with the 2D animation. The sound effects also make Alchemy just the coolest shit.
Like I'll need a weapon.
If you watched the show and didn't try to transmute something, you are a filthy fucking liar. Of course anime can somehow make prayer seem hype as hell. The music is top notch, duh. These stingers are legendary. You may not know the titles of these tracks, but you've heard them before. The way they are reused gives you such a familiarity by the end of the series. And oh man, when Ed has his final confrontation and the main theme starts playing, it sends shivers down your spine. But it's too early to be talking about the ending now, so let's blue skidoo on to... I think the main selling point of Frieren Beyond Journey's End for sure has to be the themes. Setting the story after the defeat of the big bad is a stroke of genius. It feels very similar to when I first watched One Punch Man. It's such a novel concept for a show. The Demon King may have been feared at one time, but do you know what's more scary than him? Regret. No matter how old you get, regret will always follow you. It is so much better to suffer the temporary pain of rejection or loss than it is to live with regret. Realizing how much you actually cared for someone only after they pass is something I know very well. Frieren handles this theme with maturity and grace. For Himmel, it was a decade-long journey with friends he will never forget. For Frieren, it was essentially a dangerous spring break. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can be changed by another person. It is never too late to right your own ship and find new love in those around you. Frieren Beyond Journey's End is a celebration of humanity and uses the tropes of D&D to expand upon its themes. Without her full party, Frieren would have lost to the Demon King. No one can do it all, and it's expected that you rely on others to make it through. Life is short and cruel, but we make do by relying on one another. The second half of the season is focused on the first class mage exam and its introduction to a colorful roster of absolute psychos. It's amazing how likable some of these characters are when you're talking about war criminals, serial killers, and politicians. Humans only have so long to fulfill their life's desires, whether you cover wealth, fame, or love. We need to make progress and to always move forward, lest our regret fully takes us. The ending leaves you wanting more, unlike the ending of Full Metal Alchemist, but it's too early to be discussing. Wait a minute, it's not too early. It's finally time. Full Metal Alchemist is a story about life, power, and the pursuit of happiness. Every main character in some way adds to the main theme of equivalent exchange. Alchemy is the process of analysis, deconstruction, and reconstruction. You can only take what is there and reconstitute it into another form. Nothing can be gained nor lost. Even objects like the Philosopher's Stones do not deviate from this principle. They may seem like they create something out of nothing, but the toll was paid by the souls who were used to create the stones. Alchemy is just a stand-in for power, fame, fortune, knowledge, those things we strive for as humans. To be the sexiest man alive, you by definition have to take that spot from someone else. Same goes for roles like CEO, president, or, in the case of the show, the Führer. The pursuit of being the best is a zero-sum game. For you to succeed, others must fail. The show does not say that alchemy or the pursuit of power is bad in and of itself. It is just a tool, and like any tool, it is how we use them that we make our value judgments on.
Take a look. This is what I got for wanting something unrealistic.
I disagree. You want to bring back someone that you've lost. You might want money. Maybe you want women. Or you might want to protect the world. Greed may not be good, but it's not so bad either. You humans think greed is just for money and power, but everyone wants something they don't have.
On a grander scale, this sense of right and wrong can be blurry. We might look at 1 million people dying in a day and say that is wrong, but why not look at it from Father's perspective? Those 1 million sacrifices paved the way for the formation of a powerful nation that has brought together diverse peoples under the banner of prosperity and innovation. Hell, for planets, the fundamental elements, the oceans, and the creation of life, stars had to die.
Hey, brother. Have you figured out what teacher meant by one is all and all is one?
Do you remember when I was weak from hunger and I ate those ants? But then that got me thinking. If I hadn't eaten them, I might have died. Then I would have been eaten by them. I'd go into the earth and become grass. Then the rabbits would eat that.
All things are connected. Is that what you're saying?
Everything we see, everyone we meet, is caught up in a great unseen flow. But it's bigger than that. It's the entire world, the entire universe even. We're only one small part within the much greater flow. Nothing more than a fraction of the whole. The flow of this universe follows laws of such magnitude that you and I can't even imagine them.
It always gets me how Ed and Al learned the truth way back before they even lost their bodies. So I guess that's it, right? All life requires death, and morality is subjective because it all returns to zero eventually, right? The author strings you along the entire journey, making you think that Ed and Al are right at the edge of their happily ever after, but with each corner there is another roadblock or another dead end. Ed and Al got into this mess with alchemy, and they are sure that only alchemy can get them out of it. Ed confronts truth, the embodiment of all knowledge in the universe, one last time.
I take it you're here to retrieve your brother? Just how do you plan on pulling an entire human out of here? What's your payment?
Yeah, I've got your payment right here. So go ahead and take it. This thing is my portal of truth. So I get to make the decision on how it's used.
And you're sure about this? You do realize that you'll never be able to perform alchemy again without your portal.
As it turns out, humans are pretty cheap.
No, that's blasphemy. We are all children of God.
We don't believe in unprovable concepts like creators or gods. We observe the physical laws that govern this world to try to learn the truth. It's ironic, really, that through the application of science, we have in many ways been given the power to play gods ourselves. I'm aware of that. This portal, I know it contains every secret alchemy has to offer. However, it's also led me astray. I saw the truth that lies within it. I became convinced I could solve everything with alchemy. But I couldn't possibly have been more wrong. That was just arrogance.
You're willing to cast it aside, to lower yourself to a simple human?
What do you mean, lower myself? That's the only thing I've ever been. Just a simple human that couldn't save a little girl. Not even with alchemy.
You're sure you'll be all right without it? Think carefully now.
No, damn it! You won't take him too! Take my leg! Take my arm! Take my heart! Anything you can have it! Just give it back! It's my little brother! He's all I have left!
Edward!
Edward Elric!
Who even needs alchemy when I've got them?
You've done it! That's the right answer! Good job! You beat me! Go ahead! Take him home!
The back door's right over there! Goodbye, Edward Elric! That was crazy, Al.
Speak for yourself.
Now let's go home. Together.
Even just thinking about Ed's final transmutation brings a happy tear to my eye. It's one of the best affirmations of humanity I have ever seen. Seeing the seemingly indifferent god just break character for having someone finally get it is such a vibe. Facts may not care about my feelings, but I care about facts' feelings, damn it. We are just individuals trying to make our way in the world. Truth is something we can never possess. It is beyond our comprehension. It is in the realm of the divine. Ed lost nothing but gained everything by discarding alchemy, his entire identity up until this point, because he was always only a human. Seeking power, money, knowledge, fame, it's not inherently bad, but just know you will make enemies along the way. When you make it to the top, it is best not to alienate those who loved you. Because what is all the power in the world if you don't have anyone to share it with? We find our happiness not from some arbitrary ranking, but from camaraderie, intimacy, and love. With that, let's answer the question, is Frieren the best anime of all time? Who cares? Like, honestly, who cares? The fact that an anime aggregation site with user reviews somehow put these shows in the top 3 is a miracle in and of itself. Like, we are somehow living in the best timeline. I think it's nice to have a modern anime take the top spot. With potential fans looking to sites like Mal, it's reassuring to know that they'll be recommended something of the quality of Frieren. But to give you a direct answer, I wouldn't even put Frieren in my top 5. The comparison I made to One Punch Man was intentional, both for good and bad. The concepts of both stories are novel, but the themes surrounding Saitama and Frieren were adequately touched upon in the first 13 episodes of each shows. To make up for it, they start jamming in all these side characters that end up taking the spotlight from the main cast. When finishing Frieren, I'm left wanting more. I have so many questions and ideas about where the show will go, but I lack closure. For me, the ending is paramount, and season 1 is almost all set up for better arcs later. Frieren is a slower paced show, only getting through its setup arcs after 28 episodes. That is 44% of the runtime of all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, to put that in perspective. I can only rate on what is, not what could be, and I would rather have a tight story that loops around and ties up its loose ends than one that isn't finished yet. Frieren Beyond Journey's End can beat out a story like Brotherhood, but only time will tell. It really depends on the ending. And nobody asked, but here are my top 5 anime, an objective list of quality.